What's going on, everybody? Back here again with another total body workout using a total gym or sliding bench trainer. In this workout, we'll be doing some exercises working chest, back, shoulders, and legs with some room at the end if you guys want to throw in some arms or some extra stuff. That's up to you. So about 9 major exercises we'll be doing. 10 to 20 repetitions in each exercise, give or take, for about 2 to 4 reps on various exercises for about 0 to 30 seconds rest. Optional equipment in this video that I'll be using is some resistance bands, a Pilates bar attachment, and the weight bar attachment. As always, if you guys like this content, please consider liking and subscribing. My son's just kind of finishing up. He was just doing some little pretend work on the total gym. We're starting off here just with a inverted press here. Notice I'm kind of I've been switching this up with my angles here on the inverted press. Sometimes I've been facing these pull-up bars facing me or away. I started changing it up a little bit, and I actually kind of like this version a little bit more, but I'm doing this for about 2 sets. You'll notice in this video I do something a little bit different. I'm not doing my traditional kind of circuit format. I'll be doing basically kind of picking one exercise, taking a little bit of a rest, raising the incline in some instances, and then just jumping right into it. In some exercises, you guys will see me throw on some resistance bands and some weight bar attachments to up the intensity as well. But pretty much I'm either just raising the incline, jumping right into it, or I'm resting for about maybe I'd say 30 seconds. And again, you're seeing me jumping right into this one. When I first recorded this, I could have swore I did 3 sets, maybe even 4 sets. Apparently I didn't though when I recorded it, unless I forgot to record part of it. But point is, you guys can kind of add more or less sets if you guys want to. I think this and the next exercise I do about 2 sets, so it's really up to you how you guys want to do it. I'm not going to give you guys a whole lot of time as far as transitioning and setting up exercises. I'll just assume you guys will go ahead and hit the pause button, or you guys just are jumping around checking out what the general gist of the workout is. I didn't mention in the beginning, but you guys can maybe see this. There's going to be timestamps down below. I'm going to go ahead and detach the push-up bars or pull-up bars, whatever they are, and I'm going to set up for the single leg squat with the squat stand. My legs have kind of have gone on the back burner a little bit during the summer, to be honest, just because I've been going outside, a little more running lately. Not a lot, but like 2 or 3 times a week on the off days where I'm not doing like an upper body thing or not working like my arms, or I guess my upper body in general. I'll go ahead and either do rowing, I'll go outside out for a run. I have a lot of hills by me, and I'll push 2 of my kids in like a dual stroller. So that in itself, I feel like my legs get kind of fatigued that way. The point is, this single leg squat is kind of like a go-to for me, especially if something like this. I've been incorporating some more total body days, really just kind of incorporate more legs when I'm doing like upper body days, because my traditional thing that I used to do is always like an upper lower type thing. And so now what I've been doing is I'm like my lower days, I've been kind of doing a little bit more, I wouldn't say it's an off day, but more cardio, rowing, outdoor type stuff, or even my cellar sizer type stuff, more of kind of like a free day. So I've been doing some more, incorporating more of these total body days, is what you guys are seeing in this workout. And that just allows me to get a little bit more, kind of some more leg action or some more leg exercises in throughout the week. And this is always a staple of mine. Extremely simple. I think it stresses, at least me, enough in the legs. And I think I average about, maybe 15 to 20 repetitions, roughly around that. You can definitely make this harder if you guys would like. This is something I didn't necessarily include in my total like 9 exercises that I did. This is just some extra stuff. Just throwing in some glute bridges. If you guys want to, you can go ahead and do that. Bridging in general, I always recommend for all people. It's good to do. Again, it works the glutes. Glutes are a major mover as far as the stabilizer in the back. If you got low back pain, I would say just in general, working your glutes if you guys can. Thinking about the glutes is always important. And that's why I've said in many videos, this is why I kind of go so low. Go as low as you possibly can, but I'm trying to get that stress off my knee and really think about getting out from that bottom position, pushing through my feet, my heels. I should say pushing through my heels, make sure my heels are flat, and really digging in through my glutes and definitely your quads out of that bottom position. But I'm really trying to emphasize my glutes and a lot of the leg stuff that I'm doing here. But that's pretty much it for this second exercise. I just trying to really focus in on this one. You guys will see a cool leg exercise that I don't talk about enough in this workout. If you guys are still listening, I definitely encourage you guys to check it out. I should do a whole I'll do a whole video coming up on some newer exercises that I really like that I haven't showcased enough. So that's probably one I'll feature. You guys will see that exercise coming up here in a second. All right, so I'm just going to finish up this set, and then I will see you guys at the start of the next exercise. All right, we're finishing up this exercise. We're going to jump into some pull-ups here in a second. I'm going to go ahead and attach my pull-up bar attachment. And then on this exercise, we're actually going to do 3 sets instead of 2. And I actually leave the incline exactly where it is. You guys can feel free to drop the incline if you guys want to. I just left it up there. I don't know why, just because it was up that high, I left it up that high. There's a lot of times though I don't go super high. I'll leave it in the middle or even lower just to kind of mix things up and do more reps that way, or different tempo and speed. I left it here, and then you'll notice in the second set I will go ahead and attach some resistance bands to the weight bar attachment. If you guys don't have a weight bar attachment, I had a whole other video on where to attach different resistance bands and different sites to attach it on a total gym or sliding bench trainer. If you guys don't have any resistance bands or a weight bar attachment, you can feel free to just do more sets, more reps, slower tempo. That's up to you how you want to increase the intensity. But that's what I did for this one. One thing with the total gym, and one thing I have noticed actually, when I first got this total gym fit, I mentioned how you kind of slip and slide down this thing. I have noticed that's gotten better, where I don't know if there's like some sort of coating they put on it, but I don't slide as much. But with this particular exercise, I used to notice that it was really kind of hard to kind of get my bearings, because with the weight, with the resistance bands pulling you down, you're kind of sliding off the sled. So it might take a bit. Find that right tension that works for you. Find that position that works for you, so that you're not slipping off the machine. In fact, I think I did edit out the first set I had here. I had some heavier bands and it wasn't working out because it was just pulling the sled down, and I was actually sliding off the machine. So find that tension that works for you. But that's basically going to be it. You're not going to see any rest periods here. I definitely took about, no more than 30 seconds. See right here, you see me kind of adjust myself. You got to get a little higher up so these things don't fall down. You even could do some like pauses at the top. I didn't do that, but you could do that. Certainly pause at the top and squeeze, and then do like a slow eccentric. That's another option. But that's basically it for this exercise. I'll see you guys come up here shortly for the next exercise. All right, we're finishing up that last set here, jumping into the next one, which is basically just going to be an overhead squat with some resistance bands. Feel free. You could really attach this anywhere you want. In fact, you will see me do it a couple sets here. I will go over my head. I actually do up the intensity because this wasn't too difficult with this. And I didn't even take the pull-up bars off. You probably should just take those pull-up bars off if you guys can. Just kind of get in the way. There's not really any reason to have those up there. I'll double band it in a second to kind of increase the intensity. This is one I mentioned even when I have my Weider Alts and Bodyworks, one of my favorite upper body exercises, probably more so because on that particular machine, because it was sometimes a little more, you were kind of limited in some of the leg exercises, but I love doing the banded squat with my Weider Alts and Bodyworks. Otherwise, if this kind of stresses your shoulder, it feels a little more uncomfortable, you will notice on the third set for me, I go ahead and take 2 bands and I kind of hold it more of a front squat position. But again, you can just, if none of this feels comfortable, you can just do any kind of squat you like. Even if you're older, sometimes you can do jump squats here if you don't want to use resistance bands at all, or if this kind of is a little uncomfortable to kind of hold the band in some position, you could simply just anchor the band to one of those anchor sites that I mentioned in the previous exercise that I had alluded to. I made a video about different anchor attachment sites for these bands, so that's another option. That's pretty much it though, guys. I will see you guys in the next exercise. All right, finishing up that exercise, go ahead and take those bands off, and we're gonna set up for just a basic chest press. You've noticed maybe, and maybe haven't, that I haven't touched that incline too much. I left it where it is. I'm gonna keep leaving it at that high setting, and I'm just going to detach my pull-up bars, if you guys haven't done that already, and then attach the middle cable. And then I go ahead and actually leave the weight bar attachment in. Sometimes I do this. You guys might have seen this in other videos. I kind of use this as like kind of like a footrest. I don't know how much of a difference if this really does anything. Sometimes I think it does feel a little comfortable. It kind of gets you in this unique kind of an angle, and maybe depending on your height, this may or may not feel comfortable. But I kind of use this as a little bit of a footrest. That kind of allows me to kind of engage a little more further or a little more forward into this press. And I just that's pretty much it with this exercise. I don't believe I put on any resistance bands. I don't think I do in these 3 sets of this, but you will notice, I believe even in this first set, I take a little pause here just to kind of take a break. I am switching up the angles. I'll press a little closer. I'll go back to kind of like that neutral press as well, but maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little more fatigued also, but you can see here, I'm still counting this as set 1. I took a little pause there. Just give my chest a little break, and then I jump right back into it. So just doing this for 3 sets, and that's it for this one. All right, we're going to go ahead and now finally lower this incline for this next exercise. I got the Pilates bar already set up there. And this is, I just call this a jump lunge. I know I've shown this before in another video. I realize this won't work for everybody, but this is one of those leg exercises that I definitely do like. It's one of these exercises that I kind of forget about, but whenever it pops in my head, I always kind of naturally want to do it. I like this more than like a regular lunge. Regular lunges, I don't know if they just seem more boring or I don't know. I just kind of really like doing this. It's a fun exercise. Kind of gets you breathing heavily, and it really, in my opinion, definitely works your legs pretty well. Couple things that I'm doing here. I'm really trying to land, although I'm not doing the best job in some of these, trying to land to make sure that my foot lands flush flat, that front leg lands flush flat. I'm trying to think a lot about, as always, as I said earlier, my glutes really trying to get engaged and not thinking so much about my quads. Even though your knee, some people know this, like your knee is kind of going past your ankle. That's not supposed to do that. I don't think it's really a big deal. It just depends, I think, where you're kind of putting that pressure, especially also if your foot is flat, especially in this exercise. It's kind of hard to, since your weight is forward, your knee is naturally going to have to move a little more far forward. So don't worry about that too much. The main thing is making sure your front foot is flat and really trying to emphasize in that lower position that you're thinking about, kind of stretching, basically again, enforcing and thinking about your hamstrings and glutes is what's kind of pushing you up in the air, propelling you up in the air. And then the other thing I'm trying to think about too is also just kind of like a glute kickback. As my leg goes in the air, I'm trying to squeeze my glutes and kick my leg back. I definitely felt that in my butt as I was kind of throwing my leg back. I can understand you'll probably need the Pilates bar. Maybe you can get away with this with a larger squat stand, but the Pilates bar comes in handy here. I also can realize that for some people, if you're older or you've had trouble in your shoulders, that you're going to be putting some forward pressure on your shoulders as you kind of extend that leg up in the air. That might cause some discomfort. So this might not work for everybody. If you can't do this big jump like this, just do a simple drop step lunge, maybe holding onto the squat stand or a Pilates bar if you guys got it. But this is one of my, again, if I make a video in the near future talking about some underrated, newer exercises that I've personally done, this would definitely be one of them. This is one of my favorite leg exercises. Again, I just honestly kind of forget about it. So kind of happy they kind of popped in my head during this workout. Again, this is just one of those exercises that, as much as the Total Gym, as I said this in a couple of videos, as much as the Total Gym seems like this kind of limited machine, this limited device, in some ways I keep thinking about it that it has more options and more versatility compared to a lot of other popular forms of resistance training or popular forms of exercise equipment, like even a kettlebell, dumbbell, even I'd say a squat bar in some instances, mostly because just for the way we can kind of cater the different exercise to different populations. This seems a little it's a unique kind of novel exercise. You definitely couldn't do something like this. You could do like a jump lunge and stuff like that, but the beauty of this is that using this Pilates bar, you're taking some weight off your legs to kind of give you this like kind of a plyometric, or not a plyometric, more of like an explosive kind of power move, but also not putting a lot of increased stress on your joints, whereas somebody might find it difficult to do like a jump lunge or something like that. So the point is you can really tailor and degress or progress a lot of these patterns where you might be a little more limited in a pure like an open resistance thing, like a dumbbell or barbell type exercise in the same pattern. Jumping into this, the next one's just going to be I'm going to do a basic row. I'm going to raise the incline here again. I might even raise to the highest setting later, but I go ahead and attach the weight bar attachment. I'm going to try and fine tune the resistance I want. I believe when I first did this, I think I might have edited out what I had earlier as far as the resistance I chose. But same kind of problem is going to happen here, or issue you might have to deal with, is that with that you want a decent amount of counter tension, but you got to find that sweet spot. Basically, you don't want it too heavy where you feel like you're just kind of really you can't feel it in your lats and your rhomboids and your back. Basically, if it's kind of pulling you too much, it can feel like kind of like a jarring type of row. So find that ideal resistance. You also don't want it too heavy where you can't even pull yourself and you're kind of sliding off the sled. So find what works for you. You even might have noticed here I did a cross grip, then I went back to a double grip. I almost always want a kind of a cross grip, like I'll go ahead and start with here. But I did notice I start to feel my lats and my back a little more engaged if I kind of started holding a double, kind of more like a neutral grip row earlier instead of crossing him, or I'll do what I'm doing here, which I'll cross them and I kind of get myself up more on my knees and kind of have more of a forward lean to kind of engage myself that way. Right now I'm just messing around, doing this like little back extension, just kind of feeling that. I mentioned to some people that another good back extension exercise is just doing what I just did there, having the resistance bands attached to your weight bar attachment and then doing some extensions that way. That actually works really well if you guys wanted to. But my point was, in that last part of the video, you guys will see it here in a second, when I do this row, I kind of will sit a little more higher upright on the machine to kind of lean more far forward and kind of engage my lats that way. Kind of the reverse of what I do with the chest press, where I'm leaning in the other direction. This is where I'm kind of leaning a little bit more far forward, getting up a little higher off my knees. Again, I realize this won't work for everybody. If this doesn't work out, I mean, just simply kind of find that angle, find that resistance, that works for you. I'm even doing this little kind of a reach to kind of stretch my back before I go into that press or go into that row. Again, give myself some little breaks there, going to some little minor extensions there. That's it though. I think I did 3 sets there. I lost count there. Whatever I said in the start, it was either 2 or 3 sets. Now I'm jumping into this Pilates press and a calf raise. This is the one kind of, I guess, the dual exercises that I will kind of superset together just because they worked out, you know, pretty nicely. I wasn't even going to do the calf raise, but since it was there, I went ahead and did it. Just going into putting in some resistance bands. Again, you got to kind of find that right resistance that works for you. But I go ahead and attach the bands on the weight bar, and I'm just doing this kind of a basic kind of neutral press. Definitely it's chest and shoulders, especially in this one. Definitely a little more shoulders than my other standard Pilates press, where I'll take the weight bar and drape it across the middle of the Pilates bar and press through that way. And the way I'm pressing here, definitely starting off with a chest press, and you kind of finish off with like working a little more your deltoids. And then I'm going ahead and just setting up in this calf raise. This is one, you know, ideally, I'd honestly say you feel it more if you have shoes on. I just didn't feel like throwing my shoes on for the sake of this exercise. I'd even say this is kind of an optional exercise. You'll notice I kind of up the tension here a little bit. I know I already said it, but definitely you'd feel this more. I'd recommend probably, if you really want to get the most out of this exercise, I'd go ahead and throw some shoes on, in my opinion. But you'd also, again, you're going to need the Pilates bar. You're going to need this. It kind of goes without saying. That's pretty much it. I'll jump right back and forth between these 2 exercises for 3 sets, taking off the resistance when I go into the Pilates bar press. And that's it for this workout. You guys can stop it here. After this workout, I'll show you guys at the end what I did. I kind of stopped the video, but I did do at least probably about 3 sets of arms. I did some bicep curls and tricep extensions. I'll let this kind of roll out at the end. I'll show you guys kind of like 1 set of what I did of that. But after I finish this up, you guys will see that. So that's it with this workout. Let me guys know if you guys are watched this far to the end. Thank you for watching. Always interested as well. I don't know how much this statement will reach people, but let me know if you guys keep wanting to see more workouts. I've been kind of getting just pumping the brakes back on the total gym workouts. I think I got a lot of workouts out there already. I'll keep posting more, but if you guys want to see more workouts, more or less, point is definitely let me know, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.